Hello YouTube and welcome to GrunfWorks. This is episode 74 of the Interplanetary Voyage of Exploration. And today, well, we are making some... first we want to build the SSDO Heavy Shuttle that we have built in the previous episode. And it will be here to be used at some later time, but right now our Kerbin to Eve window is coming ever so closer. So I guess it is time that we pay attention to our advanced lander, the one bound for Eve. And so the idea was to basically make the transfer for that one, and that's our Mike J. Kerman, whose mission is to go to Eve and perform some science there. Well, maybe not land on Eve, but at least orbital science and maybe Gilly. That's what I'm at least thinking at the moment. His lander is not capable enough to be able to go to Eve. So yeah, right now just planning our Eve transfer, and we are just aligning the parameters as indicated in our transfer window information supplied by Transfer Window Planner. So just fiddling a little bit with the maneuver node until we get an actual encounter. So fiddling a little bit in terms of radial or prograde, retrograde, whatever. So I'm just now trying to see how do I best align that. Should I be using prograde, retrograde, or just radial? So let's see. Okay, prograde definitely seems to help in conjunction with a little bit normal and radial, I guess. So a little bit more fiddling. Okay, this makes it worse. And the tank of liquid fuel is leaking. Beautiful. Oh well, dang it. I guess we'll have to fix that. But first, we have more than enough delta V, so let us just quickly fix the issue. Yeah, and coming back, Mike J, I think I actually forgot to hit the record here, sorry guys. So, yeah. Anyway, now it's fixed, so I'm now just equalizing the two tanks that were affected. It was one of the Rocomax's big one tanks. So I'm just now making sure that both of the tanks have equal amount of fuel for our transfer burn, I guess. Okay, so we have got our Eve transfer that we have set up. Yeah, I believe looking at this footage in post-commentary, one of the video segments ran away from me, I guess. And that was just the maneuver node. And once again, we have a tank of oxygen that is leaking. So, once again going up, taking some spares and duct taping the stuff. I don't know why, I have a feeling that we will have a fun time with dang it. I don't really know why, but yeah, so far 2 failures within like, I don't know, couple of days after launch. I mean, sounds a little bit harsh, doesn't it? Okay, so let's just see. We are 3 hours and 28 minutes away from the burn. So, yeah. Just let's time warp until we get to the maneuver node. And I think we got interrupted by being over Badlands or something. It's this last biome over in Kerbin that I didn't manage to get some science, so yeah. And coming on up on maneuver node and burning, ditching the 2 fuel tanks, and this will be our transfer stage. So this will be going with us to Eve. You would think that it would only be the lander, but since I actually put some also, life support stuff, I guess it only makes sense to have it transfer as such and then ditch it over there. I mean, I don't need that much delta V. It was planned for Joule, but I didn't really want to rework it. Didn't feel right. So yeah, okay. And now just burning in the direction of the maneuver node, trying to get Eve encounter. And I'm fiddling a little bit in terms of RCS, forward, backwards, and I kill the maneuver node in the hope to actually get an approach, and separation is closing down, which means we should be seeing anytime soon the encounter. Yeah, and let's just fiddle a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's it. Cool. I guess, Mike, your transfer is set up, so let us just now gently leave Kerbin behind and appreciate the view. Bye, Kerbin. See you in a while. Mike J is actually the second Kerbal that is going to some other planetary body, with Jab being the first one. And speaking of Jab, he is still out there, so we are actually waiting for the Duna to Kerbin transfer window, which is coming ever so closer. I mean, 159 days, so... or actually 82 days, yeah. 82 days, sorry guys. So it's kind of coming soon, and I'm hoping to be able to return Jab eventually. Okay, so Mike J, you are on your way, and I'm just now waiting until physics decides, or Pat Connix decides not to be crazy on me. So yeah, I'm just waiting until I see the actual Eve encounter, and there we go. Perfect. That basically means that we actually are en route, and that's great. So let's see, land advanced lander Eve, and we have our maneuver node. Okay, that means we can actually start paying our attention to the Joule Nuke Probe, which is actually coming up towards the Joule system. After 3 full years of wandering, now we are ready to actually do some science around Joule. Wow, that's exciting. So yeah, Duna and Eve we are pretty much now starting to get familiar around, but Joule is still unexplored territory. And the Nuke Probe 2 is the first Kerbal-made object to be entering the Julian system. As you can see, I'm very sorry for my patched conics being crazy on me, but we are closing in on the maneuver node, and if all calculations are correct, we should get a very tight Joule encounter, and hopefully even the Laythe encounter. So anyway, that's kind of the plan. Whether or not that will be the case, I'm still not sure. We will see it once we actually change the sphere of influence and start to get within Julian's system. So far, these nuke probes have proven pretty resilient and seem to be working actually quite fine. Great! Space high over Joule. Ladies and gentlemen, let us gather some science. And yeah, so the idea is I don't want to transmit the data that is incurring a loss. That one I will keep, but all other data that is not incurring a loss in terms of transfer, I am transferring. So yeah, not transferring at the moment because I forget that my auto-collect of the science is on. A mod by science containers, which I found to be actually very useful, so you don't need to manually collect the experiment, and it also allows a little bit more advanced and more meaning to the probes, I guess. So yeah. Okay, just resetting my experiments. So, space high over Joule collected, and right now I'm just checking if, and yes. I was checking if I will get a Laythe encounter, since, I mean, we are so close to the orbit of Laythe, I figured I might as well And the goal for this Nuke Probe 2 would be, I guess, the inner planets of the Julian system. I guess Val, Laythe, and I don't know, we'll see if we get any more, maybe Tylo or something, I'm not sure. So, we do have a Laythe encounter, which is just great, and it's actually the burn is next thing to happen, so yes. Let's see, and US Orbital Telescope, hold maneuver prograde, and execute the planned maneuver in 55 days. So, the 55 days is plenty of time, and I could actually squeeze another mission in, but I figured, since we're already coming to Jool, no harm in a little bit accelerating the time. Dang it, we love you. Yeah, we love you again. If this keeps going at this rate, there's a good chance that my probe will be completely disabled by the time its transfer window home should occur. So let us appreciate a little bit the dance of the Jool and its moons. I can understand that they're only tiny specks, but still they're pretty much visible in terms of their interplanetary dance. And we're coming up on our maneuver node, which should be, so we will be burning in 2 minutes and 35 seconds roughly. Small burn, 54 meters per second, but a burn nonetheless. Alright, and that's it. We have, ladies and gentlemen, a Laythe encounter. Perfect. And it should be happening within the next 4 days. Beautiful. So, I actually decided to deactivate the medium range communitrons. I mean, they're serving no purpose because at this distance it's only the big antenna that applies, so yeah, not really at the point of doing anything else with those two smaller ones. On the way home, maybe. So, let's see, at Laythe, how much delta V do we need to actually perform orbital insertion? And it's roughly 1195. Well, we have more than enough, so I think we will actually do that. We will make sure that we get captured in the orbit of Laythe, because I want to do some high over Laythe and low over Laythe science. I realize I could be doing the flyby, but I figured it would be just more fun to do the orbital insertion. Besides, we have another Jool Nuke Probe coming in, so I've doubled up on the probes, why not have some fun? So, 1000 time acceleration and 3 times time acceleration at video playback. So this is roughly 3000 times time acceleration when looking in terms of approaching Jool and its moons. And yeah, it looks pretty nice. I really like the dance of the Jool and its moons. By the way, I'm using visually, if you see the Jool and all the moons look different, I'm using Astronomer's Visual Pack Beta, and I think it was Beta 3. It was available before the Interstellar version 2 came out, which I downloaded, and I'm using it, and I actually like it a whole lot. I actually like it more than the Interstellar version 2. And screenshot, beautiful Laythe pass over the Jool's surface. Yeah. That's our target, ladies and gentlemen. We are going there. So, yeah, taking some time to appreciate Laythe and, yeah, coming in. Another screenshot. Well, definitely I'll use one of them to represent the episode, I guess. And coming in on Laythe. Hi Laythe. A beautiful world, similar to Kerbin, just with a slightly thinner atmosphere and a lot more water. So this probe mission is to actually, it won't go into the atmosphere of Laythe, but it will do a lot of orbital measurements from the orbit above and decide if it makes sense for us to send a more advanced ship. I guess it makes sense because we already shipped it. It's the Science 2, the one that has impactor probes, and the impactor probes will go on the surface of Laythe, and whether it's its oceans or its landmass, and do some science as well. Perfect. We are in the sphere of influence of Laythe, ladies and gentlemen. Perfect, which means that we are doing some science high over Laythe, and the biome is the Sagan Sea. Beautiful. Lots and lots of good science to be made here. Right now I'm just recording science and I'm pressing transmit, but actually nothing is happening because I only realized that my probe is actually consuming all of the science, so I'll have to review data later at later stage and then just retoggling all the experiments and enjoying the view as we're coming in closer to Laythe. We will not be doing the aero braking because I cannot be bothered to break this antenna. I only have one, so if that one breaks in the atmosphere, we basically can scrap the mission. So yes, I'm performing a regular orbital insertion. It is a compromise that we had to make this probe very light. And beautiful screenshot between Laythe and... It's interesting, I mean, if you look at Laythe and Joule, Laythe looks so much bigger, but it's a relative distance thingy. If you put them together, Laythe is but a tiny speck compared to Joule. And we are performing our orbital insertion burn. That should basically get us in the orbit around Laythe. What was I thinking? And it's a pretty big burn actually. It's 1100 delta V, but we have more than enough, so yeah. No harm, no foul. Since we packed that huge amount of delta V, we might as well use it. Great. It is a little bit longish burn, 2 or 3.5 minutes. We are 2 minutes and 30 seconds into the burn. And just for your information, ladies and gentlemen, you're still watching this, and I think it's in 3 times time acceleration, so because of frame rate, obviously. So yes, executing maneuver. So far so good with missions so far out with remote tech, and dang it. I don't want to brag too much about it because I don't want to jinx it, but yeah, it's... So far I'm very, very happy the way this mission is going. Cool. Beautiful Joule set over the Laythe, I guess. Pretty big burn, and by the way, if you can observe, you can see that the majority of Laythe's surface is water. It has basically huge oceans and a very little landmass. So when landing, you have to be really precise in terms of hoping to hit land. And our burn is finished, which means that I'm kind of hoping that we are captured in the orbit around Laythe, and we are. Perfect. So I'm just now killing rotation, toggling the SAS, and what I'm hoping to actually see is how much fuel do we have. Well, we have still 1100 in this stage, which is, I guess, more than enough. So what I will hope to do is I will may go to the apoapsis, and I'm hoping to reduce my periapsis up to the point where I'm performing low over Laythe science. And I'm just looking now for the transfer window back from Joule to Kerbin to know when I will be returning this guy. Yeah, I know, I just arrived, but you never know. I mean, the transfer window could be like in 20 days, which means we should expedite our research and send the probe back home for as much science as we can. And I don't want our travel times to be extremely long, so I'm trying to keep on the bottom part of the spectrum here. So I'm just now fiddling a little bit. See if I can find something interesting. Maybe this. Okay, let's add KSP-LR. Great. Okay, with that thing out of the way, I think we should do some more science, don't you? But first, let's review stored data. And yeah, I'm actually thinking we're coming on the 22-minute mark. I think I'm gonna call this for this episode, but I will first transfer all of the sweet science that we can. So basically just transferring everything that for which I get, all the science for which I get 100% returns. So yeah, transmit. Oh no, we don't transmit that one. Let me just see. Keep transmit. Yeah, reset, transmit, and yeah, I think we have enough science. So I think I'm gonna call this for this episode. Like if you like the episode, and hit subscribe button for more KSP content that should be coming soon. Let's see how much science we have. 566. Thank you very much for watching. This is GrunfWorks signing off.